Hi everybody, it's Ann King. I'm with decorcreations.etsy.com and I'm here today to show you how to make a cute little swag to put on your fall lantern. So we're starting out with a rust-colored ribbon in our bow. Just one loop for each color. I'm using 4 different colors on this bow. And we're going to go right in here. Give our ribbon a little twist so everything is facing up the way we want it to. And then I started with a 6-inch loop, so now this loop will be about 5.5 inches down. And then we twist. Now what's going to happen here is one side of my loop is going to have my truck upside down. The other side's going to have it upside right. That doesn't really bother me, so I'm just going to keep going like that. Now I'm going to cut this off at 8 inches. Our bottom tail is about 12 inches, and our top tails are about 8 inches. I'll move that out of the way. And then we've got some plain leopard print, which is just like the leopard print that we'll be using in our pumpkins. Once again, I want to start with a 12-inch tail, and I'm going to be about a 1/2 inch smaller on my loop. That makes my loop 5 inches. Put it in, twist it, bring it back over at about 5 inches from the length of my loop. Make sure I've got my loops at the length I want them to be. And I'm going to cut this off again around 8 inches. Again, you go long with your ribbon tails because you can never really tell until you start getting into your design how long you're going to want them to be. And this way we can always cut them shorter, but if I don't leave long enough tails on it, I can never get them longer. So here we go with the moss green. This is a much thinner ribbon. This is a 5/8 inch ribbon. My other ribbons were 2.5 inches. I'm going to bring this in, twist it, go down. I'm going to make loops, 2 loops, one on each side, and then I'm going to make a center loop, which will be shorter than the 2 that I put on each side. I want to make sure that my ribbon is turned exactly the way I need it to be, and that my ribbon lengths are almost the same for each loop. And now I'm going to make a loop that is only going to be about 2 inches long, and that'll be my center loop. Again, I'm going to the top, so I'm going to cut that off around 8 inches and take it to the top. Now I've chosen this time to use a zip tie in order to secure my bow. We bring it up out of the Easy Bow Maker, hold it with your thumb on top, and then once you get the zip tie in place, we'll push down on that center part, helping to pull everything together. Now this is where it gets a little tricky sometimes. The zip ties like to flip over on you. But here we go. Going right in. Pulling on it. Now I'm going to pinch down, hold everything together, and secure it as tight as I can. Once I've done that, I will go ahead and trim it off. And now I'm going to fluff my bow. So you see here we've got our centerpiece. And we've got our other ribbons. And everything's looking pretty and pretty equal. And ready to go. Now I'm going to go ahead and dovetail my ribbons. Even though I'm not sure that I'm going to keep them that length. But it makes it easier for me to visualize what I'm doing. Again, you can either cut from the outside edge after you fold your ribbon over, and you can cut up, or you can fold your ribbon over and cut down from the fold. If you're cutting up, you want to be cutting from the edge of your ribbon, not from the fold of your ribbon. So here we go again. Now, the top is a little bit different. I think I'm going to want these a little bit shorter when I look at the bow, because I want to make sure my tails are not overwhelming the rest of my bow. And again, we can adjust these later. Now this is the lantern that I'm making this for. But what we're doing here today will work on any 12 to 15 inch, 16 inch high lantern that you buy. This particular lantern was purchased last year at Walmart, but they have a number of different styles, so you can choose what you like the best to use at your location. Sometimes I use these inside, and sometimes I use them on the porch outside. Now those tails look like they're going to work out pretty good. Now we want to design the rest of the swag. When you make a swag, the top part is always going to be shorter than the lower part. And this is what I want the top of my swag to focus on. This pretty large dried up sunflower, which is about 9 inches in diameter. I'm not sure I'm going to keep these leaves on because they don't look like they're going to cooperate, and they are not wired in order to make cooperation easier. So we'll see how that looks once we put everything together. But to kind of get an idea of how the look I'm going for, this is where your bow would be, and this is at the top. And then at the top, I'm also going to put a little bit of this seed spray. And I also have these pretty orange pip berries. And this is a used stem. I often take parts off of it to use in different designs, so I might well continue with that idea. That'll fit in somewhere else. I really want this longer piece, so I've pulled off the shorter ones, and the reason I want the longer ones is because that will make it easier for me to attach everything together when I zip tie my swag together. Now I'm going to go ahead and cut this off. I am at about 6 inches below the beginning of my pip berries. And these can be really hard to cut. So excuse me if I make funny faces while I do it. There we go. Got that one. All right. So then if I put this up here, we'll see my colors mixed together at the very top. Next thing I'm going to do is look at how I want the bottom my swag. So I'll move my bow. I'll move my extra pip berries. And what I've got for the bottom is just a very simple piece of fall greenery, which is all in the fall colors now. I can go up as high as I need to get this started. And then I'll be putting my bow in with it. And I can turn some of these leaves. I also want to put a little bit of the smaller leaved greenery in there. And a little bit of the ficus. Because early fall, everything is not already changed. Excuse me. So we still have a little bit of greenery in just about everything in Mother Nature until we get until late fall, at which time we'll have more brown and less green. I don't know, if you live in the South, you might keep a lot more green a lot longer than I do, but I'm in Indiana, so up here, I think I'm going to turn just a little bit sooner than people in the South are. This piece, I'm just going to kind of wiggle it around so it looks a little more natural instead of just standing at attention. It's got a center wire, but the smaller pieces don't have any wire at all. So I'm not able to adjust them, but I am able to adjust that and create a little more fullness. Now, when it comes to this pumpkin spray, I'd really like to be able to put a couple of pumpkins up near my bow. So I think what I'll do is go in this way. I'm going to try and leave it all in one long piece. And then I will try to arrange my flower around them. Spread these out a little. So there's a little bit of variety in it. And I really want some of this to be up in there. There we go. And then let's see how that looks with the bow. Oh, that's going to be good. Okay. So now that I've got my basic design laid out, what I need to do is take a twist or a zip tie, flip my design over, and place my zip tie right here in the center of all these sticks and pieces that I have going on. Once I have the zip tie on, I can put the bow on, and from there, I'll show you how we attach it to the lantern, and we'll be good to go. So, let me figure out where my zip ties are off to, because they have run off for sure. Zachary?
What?
Could you please get me a black zip tie or two out of my box over there? Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. So now I've got about a 10-inch zip tie. It's black, so it's not going to show up very much, even if somebody was to get a glimpse of it. I want to zip tie them at the back. For the first one. That way I can see all my different pieces of greenery and be sure that I'm catching all the stems. Then I'm going to turn it over and I'll make sure I have everything placed the way I want it to be placed. And then I'll go ahead and add another zip tie further down and try and disguise it a little bit in the leaves and the other greenery that we have here. So I'll go down about 2 inches further down than I was when I did the first zip tie. I'm going to try and go behind everything so that I'm just tying in at the larger stems and not really hanging up any of the smaller stems that I may want to move around and adjust to make it look a little fuller. Here we go. Again, pull that just as tight as you can. Clip it off. Okay. And my leaves are all bent up, so you want to be sure and flip your little leaves out again so that everything's looking nice. I want my pumpkins to be out there where they're noticed. And some in the center and some on the sides. So now I'm going to take this bow, and in the very back, I'm going to slide a zip tie underneath the zip tie I used to fasten my bow together. And sometimes that's really easy, and other times I just get my own fingers in the way of myself. What I'm doing here is trying to put my zip tie inside the zip tie I tied off my bow with. If that doesn't work, it's not a big problem. I'll just lay my zip tie like this. I'll add another zip tie around the center of my bow. And get everything fastened in place, because the one that I'm trying to fasten in place is the one that we'll use to attach it to the swag that we just made and put together. I cut that off. And now I'm going to take this bow and attach it right below my flower. And once it's attached, then we'll adjust it the way we need to with the rest of the pretty parts of our swag. So here we go again. Make sure my zip is zipping. So if it doesn't make that zipper sound when you go in, you've got something upside down and it's not going to hold. So here we go, once again. And we're pulling that just as tight as we can. And then cutting it off. All right, we have our bow in place. Now we want to go ahead and trim off all these long stems from the attachments we put on so that they're not showing. So I'm going into the back and I'm going to once again make funny faces while I try and cut this really good piece of stem. And then I have one more I need to cut. Turn it back over for this one and give it a good cut. They have this really neat thing called a stem cutter for these thicker stems. However, it also comes with a really neat price, so I haven't purchased one. Again, I have another long stem that I need to remove. And there we go. There we go. That should take care of all our extraneous stems. Now I'm going to have to fluff my bow out again because, of course, when I turned it upside down, I squished everything. Excuse me just a minute. I'm sorry, but my allergies are really working to be the center of attention today. I think this piece of leopard print is just a little bit too long. So we're going to go ahead and cut that a little bit shorter. Here comes the rust color. And the green, which I kind of like to twist it into more of a swirly look when I use this kind of ribbon. Let it kind of twist on itself, make a spiral. Now we want to make sure that our beautiful, beautiful flower shows, but we also want our beautiful bow pieces to show. So I think I'm going to have to cut this a little bit shorter just to keep it from interfering too much with our pretty flower, because the flower really should be the center of attention since it's so beautiful. And here we go. Now, what we have here is a swag. We've got our little leopard print pumpkins, our coordinating ribbon, our beautiful big dried sunflower, and some fall bits of berries and pips and what have you. And now we're going to take our lantern and place it right here at an angle. Some people like it in the front. Some people prefer it at the side. I like it to kind of get right between the two of them, so it shows right between both of them. And there you go. A beautiful fall swag ready to grace your lantern and show everybody your fall spirit. I hope you enjoyed this video, and next time we'll look at some more fall designs that you can use to decorate your home and make all your friends jealous. No, not really, but maybe. It can be fun. So here you go. Have a wonderful day. And please, if you enjoy my videos, take a minute to press the like button and to subscribe. The more people who subscribe and watch and like my videos, the better a viewing I can get on YouTube.